Good morning and welcome to our adult story time this morning. This story is keeping in line with our theme of the month here at the library, which is Salute to the Military, which is part of the National Military Appreciation Month recognition that is celebrated throughout the country. We are taking our story today from a book entitled Korea Reborn. A Grateful Nation Honors War Veterans for 60 Years of Growth. And this is a limited edition commemorative book, and it was published and produced by Remember My Service Productions, which is a division of Story Rock Incorporated. And today's story, actually there's two short stories we're going today because they are very short. The first one is called Signing Up to Fight. On a wave of post-patriotic enthusiasm following victory in World War II, a new generation of young men and women were eager to fight in the Korean War. Some were drafted. Others signed up. Many had little or no idea what they were getting into. They just knew they wanted to serve. Not quite a year after we graduated from high school, a whole group of us got drafted at the same time, recalls Bill Hartsock, a sergeant in the United States Air Force. We were bused up to Des Moines and we all took our physicals. They told us that if we wanted to enlist in something other than the Army, we would have 30 days to make the choice. Some of us flipped coins, and that's how I ended up in the Air Force. Willie B. Harris, who retired as Command Sergeant Major in the Air Force, enlisted in 1949 because it was a tradition. I had 3 brothers in World War II, he notes, and when I was old enough to realize, I had a dream to be an airborne soldier. Harris recalls that his first experience wasn't very nice. The second day I was detailed for KP, which is kitchen police, and I must have peeled about 2,000 pounds of potatoes. Robert L Cornwell was a senior in high school when he and his buddy started talking about serving. We decided we might like to go to the Navy. Then one Saturday, he came in and I was playing pool and he said, "Let's go to Burlington and enlist." I said, "Okay," and so we went. After boot camp, Cornwell was assigned to an LST, an amphibious ship that will run up into the beach, drop a ramp, and unload directly onto the beach. He immediately got seasick. Despite that shaky beginning, Cornwell earned several Korean service medals. One of my most memorable experiences was when we went above the 38th parallel into enemy territory and spent 2 weeks being a target and trying to draw fire from the shoreline so we could find out where they were. And that was signing up to the fight, and talks about men and why they signed up and how they decided where they were going. The second short story is Boot Camp, an introduction. Boot camp is a universal military requirement regardless of the branch of service. The intense introduction to military life is an experience no service member forgets. When I was in boot camp at Parris Island, they were really adamant about everybody being a good marksman with the M1 rifle. Of the 10 or 11 weeks, 3 of those weeks were solid weeks spent out on the rifle range, remembers Rexford Early, who served as a Marine during the war. The first week, just snapping in the different positions and blank firing. The second week, we actually got live ammunition and you practiced and shot. And at the end of the third week, everybody had to qualify. We had to rapid fire, we had to slow fire, and the last 10 rounds of qualification was 500 yards. Now that's 5 football fields. If you didn't qualify, they made you march all the way back to camp, about 8 or 10 miles. Early continues, "I don't care how cocky you are, how tough you are, how smart you think you are. They whittle your butt down to nothing. They make you think you are the lowest thing that ever walked on the face of the earth. But after a few weeks, they start building you up. By the time you graduate, you think you're the toughest, meanest son of a gun that ever wore a pair of low cuts. And that's the psychology. You're going to do things that you might think are humanly impossible, or you might be scared to death, but you're going to do them because you're not going to let your buddies down. The most memorable moment of the war for Early was graduating from boot camp. My DI, who had kicked me, hit me, cursed at me, yelled at me, and threatened me, stuck out his hand, pinned the globe and anchor on my collar, and said, "Congratulations, you are now a Marine, and I would be proud to serve with you." That was a major compliment. That was the proudest moment of my life. Thank you for joining us today for our adult story time. Thank you to the servicemen and women who have served in the United States military or who are currently serving. We appreciate your service and what you do for the country. Until next time, stay safe, be healthy, have a wonderful week.